Welcome to my channel. This is Mario Lord, also known as Real Estate Guru PK. On this channel, we talk about my real estate endeavors. We also have the top real estate producers and the top entrepreneurs in the country. Be sure to click the link below with Justin P with his Support Black Colleges marketing course. Also with Jason White's Crack the Code affiliate link, click that below as well. Also to support the channel, Webull, M1 Finance, Chase, Discover, Robinhood, and Public, a stock trading app. We hope you enjoyed this episode. This is Real Estate Guru PK signing out. How y'all doing? We got a special guest. We got a real estate guy. He's buying up New Jersey. Would you start with your first? What year was your first purchase in real estate?
Yeah, so my first purchase in real estate was 2016. I got started in 2014. I started wholesaling real estate. You know, I did my first deal in 2014, made $12,500 on my first deal.
How long did it take you to get that first deal?
It took me 6 months. So it took me 6 months. I started with a online YouTube. I seen a YouTube ad about real estate. That's when I met Jay Morrison. I know you just mentioned him. So I started through his program and started following the basics of it. And 6 months later, I did my first deal.
Okay.
Yep.
So Jay Morrison was your first mentor? Yeah,
so that was the first mentor, the first program that I joined. You know, it was a online program that I was learning about real estate. They were teaching residential real estate, so everything from like fixing and flipping, buying and holding, wholesaling real estate. And wholesaling seemed like the easiest for me because like I had no experience on real estate, didn't have a bunch of money that I was willing to invest into real estate. So I said, you know what, if I can make money finding deals and then pass them to invest, I think that's probably the best way for me to start.
Okay. Yeah, we started about the same time.
Yeah.
Started 2014.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
So how much did it cost you to get your first deal?
That's a good question. So my first deal, it only cost me like $600. You know,
that was like letters and stamps.
Yeah, I was, you know, at this time there wasn't no texting. You know, there was cold calling was there, but it wasn't all these other fancy things that they got going on now. So I started with straight handwritten letters. I was writing letters in my house. I would mail them off, get the stamps from the post office, and I would probably say I sent out a total of maybe like 500-600 letters. And I got my first call from a out-of-state owner. I was pulling a list of like homeowners who own properties in New Jersey but lived out of state. So the guy lived in New York. It's funny because the house that my first wholesale deal was behind the house I grew up in. So when I sent them a letter and he started telling me the address, and I realized it was literally in the same neighborhood that my grandmother raised me, and I told him who my grandmother was, come to find out him and my father grew up together and they ran track. So once he knew who I was, he pretty much gave me the house after that.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Well, he sold it to you for little or nothing because he knew who you was?
Well, he didn't sell it to me for little to nothing. I think my first offer was like $50,000 on the property, but we agreed at 65. 65. And then I brought a buyer in at 77.5. At that time, that same house was probably worth like 140, 150. Right now, that house worth probably like 300, 325. Wow. You know, that's some time ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't you wish you started buying and holding, or you still feel like wholesaling was the way to go?
I feel like at that time, wholesaling was definitely the way to go because in a perfect world, yeah, I wish I could have them properties, but I got to learn the process because even then, I tell my students and I tell people all the time, like my first 15 deals I sold, I still didn't understand real estate. I didn't understand why would people, like why they buy this? Why are they not buying this? I just understood that I had to get the deal cheaper than what the buyer wanted at that time. I was literally only wholesaling. So I had like an investor that I met and he would walk through every property and say, I'll pay this amount. Get it with it for whatever lower that you can do. And that's how my first few deals went. But until I started understanding all the benefits, it took me like 3 or 4 years to wrap my head around like, oh, now I understand why people are buying real estate.
Let me ask you this. You look kind of young. Do you have a hard time people taking you serious because you look young?
To be honest, no. I think it's an advantage. I'm 30.
You're 30? Yeah,
I'm 30 years old. So it's an advantage, to be honest. So where I'm from in New Jersey, it's a very suburban area. A lot of people, there's a lot of wealth out there. So I think for to see a young minority, young black man that got his shit together and really focused and speaking well, it surprises them so much that they say, you know what, this is probably the least I could do is give this young brother an opportunity.
Opportunity for real.
You know, yeah. So like, it's been a benefit to me.
Okay.
You know, it's definitely been a benefit to me.
It's the opposite out here.
Yeah.
They think you try to like take their house for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, they think you like you just lying or whatever.
Yeah. See, in my town, I'm from Ocean County, New Jersey, so it's on the shore of New Jersey. It's a lot, but back then it wasn't a lot of black entrepreneurs, certainly in real estate. Like I can arguably and confidently say I'm probably like one of the first black real estate investors under 30. There's a couple older guys in our neighborhood that was doing it, but for the younger community, the millennials and the generational Z, I was definitely like the first one to start in our area.
What was your biggest wholesale deal?
My biggest wholesale deal to this day was $116,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me those numbers.
So I'm gonna get the logistics on this deal. So we found the deal. This was in 2018. It was a unique deal. So what happened was we were dealing with the son. The father was incapable to make his own decisions. So what happens is the state insurance typically wants to take the proceeds from the property to take care of the father. So the son was like, look, they gonna take all this money. Let's figure this out real quick. So pretty much in return of that, I was able to get him money, but he gave us a deal for almost nothing. So it was like a $380,000 home. He gave it to us for $40,000, right? And we ended up wholesaling the property for like $190,000, and then we cut him a cut because he wasn't gonna get nothing. His only duty was to literally sell the house. All the proceeds was going to the Medicare or whatever insurance that he had. So he said, "Look, I'm gonna give it to you for whatever you want. Just give me a cut out of it. I want 10, maybe 20,000. So we was able to get him down super low, and we ended up pushing that deal. I've done a deal at 80,000, 60,000, 70,000. We've done some pretty high number deals in Jersey because, Jersey real estate is, it's expensive out there.
Mm-hmm. Did he have to get a power of attorney or he already had a power of attorney?
He was the power of attorney. The son was.
Already?
Yeah, because the father was in a nursing home. So the father he did destroy the house. But he was in a nursing home, and the son literally had to get rid of the home because that was what was going to pay for the Medicare. But he couldn't get anything out of the proceeds. So he said, look, I'll give it to you for whatever. And then on the back end, you give us money.
Have you experienced any racism out there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've definitely, on the flip side of me saying my age has been a benefit and me looking young, but I've walked into houses at times where they probably didn't flat out show me racism, but I can just tell that because of my skin color and probably because of my age, they had their minds made up they wasn't doing business with me. Our market is very small, so even if I don't get the deal, the deal's gonna show up to the next person. So if I see that someone else has the same deal, I'll be like, okay, that's probably just because of that was their personal issue. But it doesn't affect me.
It don't bother you at all?
Nah, it don't bother me. Nah, I mean, I grew up in high school, fighting kids over that, being called the N-word, but, it doesn't really, like, slow us down. It doesn't slow me down. Like, I'm a hustler by heart, so it motivates me, if anything, It definitely motivates me, but I can honestly say, like, Ocean County, there's definitely racism there, but they have a lot of respect for the black community there. Okay. I can say that.
How often do you JV or do you JV?
So I really don't JV no deals.
At all?
Nah, I don't. I've done a few.
So you got a strong buyers list.
I got a strong buyers list. I just feel like most of the time in the JV position, I like to have control of the deal. So if I put a deal out to a bunch of my buyers and I have no control over the deal, I have no guarantee they're going to work with me. I'm just exposing all my hard work to somebody else. So I'm confident in my own business, my own marketing. I source all my own deals. I do maybe 50 to 70 deals a year over the last 4 to 5 years. So I stay away from it. Now, if someone brings me a deal and we have a close relationship, but most of the time I get all like a bunch of wholesalers deals. If I don't want to buy it, I don't even look at it.
Has anybody try to undercut you, like one of your buyers? They try to go directly to the seller? I'm a real estate dude.
Nah. Good questions. I would say honestly, like, No.
That's never happened to you for real?
No, I have not experienced that. See,
well, man, it's shiesty in Houston.
Yeah,
bro.
I can imagine. Like, see, this a big city.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, see, I'm in it's complete opposite. I did real estate in Atlanta for a little bit, and I didn't like it because it's too many
hands.
Too many people in the game. You know, so in my market, no, because it's a lot of loyalty because most of these guys are the investors. So they're looking at the long-term relationship. Like, they see value in a young, hustling wholesaler out in our market because there's not a lot of us there. So, no, I've never really experienced that that I could think of off the top of my head. Most of the guys they're looking for the long-term relationship, you know?
Okay.
How would you describe wholesaling, the process of wholesaling, to someone who has no idea?
Yeah. Good question. So wholesaling real estate I look at it more like just a strategy, right? It's like a strategy in real estate. So many people will box themselves into it like I'm a wholesaler, but I look at residential real estate investing as the empire, right? And wholesaling is one strategy to get a head start in the business. So wholesaling real estate, obviously you don't need a real estate license to do it. Most people always are curious, do I need to be licensed? No, so you don't need a real estate license. You are not an agent. You are a real estate investor. Little experience. I did my first 10 to 15 deals and didn't know shit about real estate. No credit whatsoever. So you're not having your credit pulled, no credit, whatever, no down payments. And that's case by case, but for the most part, no down payments on properties. And what you're literally doing is positioning yourself, finding motivated sellers and cash buyers and position yourself in the middle of these deals. So you're going to go out there, find a homeowner, right? The homeowners motivate to sell for whatever reason, right? Maybe their father passed away. The home got inherited to them. They live out of state. The house is a wreck and they don't want nothing to do with real estate.
Are you looking for specific houses to buy? Or they're like qualifications for the house?
Specific houses, right? So you're definitely looking for a very small niche of a type of homeowner. Okay. That's why we call them motivated sellers, right? So you're going to go out there, find a motivated seller. You're going to negotiate a price with them and put their house under contract. So you own a house. I'm going to meet you. We're going to agree on a price. We're going to sign a contract. Okay. But at the same time, I've already built up a network. So Mario's one of my buyers. So he's buying properties. You go, Isaac, look, I'm looking for more deals in that area. If you find any, call me first. Right. So as soon as I get the deal with you, I'm already thinking about Mario. I'm going to call Mario. Here's the details to the deal. I signed a contract with you for $100,000. I asked Mario for $120,000 for the same contract. He says, yes, I want it. We sign a contract, an assignment contract. That's what I typically do. And then I'm going to have two contracts, a contract with you for $100,000. And I have a $20,000 assignment contract that says that he's taking this seat right here as the buyer with me and you. We're going to take that to a title company or a closing attorney. Once they see that paperwork, they know what to do with it. Day of closing, you're going to get $100,000 from him. I'm going to get $20,000, right? He's going to take ownership of the property.
Oh, wow.
That's
so
wholesaling.
Wins
Everybody wins.
The day, and you didn't need any credit or capital.
Nope. Wow, so even if you said, well, my lawyer told me that you got to put 5% down of the purchase price, that's standard. And if I don't got the $5,000 in this instance, because 5% of $100,000 is $5,000, I'm going to say, okay, give me 48 hours. I'm going to get the $5,000 into my title company. I'm going to call him on hour 3. He's going to tell me yes by hour 5, and I'm going to make him put $10,000 down on the deal. So now $10,000 is going to title. That covered the $5,000 that your attorney wanted, and I have nothing in the game other than maybe the marketing because you got a letter from me, or I called you, or I text you. That's the only thing I put into the business.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
That's interesting because I'm looking to get into real estate real soon. I don't have any real estate, so all of this is new to me.
Yeah.
That you explained it very well.
Yep. Nice.
Do you have to get memorandums on your property?
No, I've never.
One time?
No, I've never had to. So I could tell you, in my entire real estate career, I have had 2 lawsuits and I won both of them.
Okay.
So I had this one deal in 2021. This property here, we got it. I don't know the exact numbers. We had a $20,000 spread on the deal. An elder seller, they signed a contract with us. We brought a buyer in it. So in New Jersey, we have a lot of Hasidic Jewish people. So most of the elder Caucasian people, when they see Jews, they it's not a bad thing, but they start to, like, pretty much when we brought the Jewish buyer into the property, I think they started realizing that we was actually trying to sell this deal. And when people think about Hasidic Jewish people, they think about top dollar. So in my mind, I feel like they say, you know what? I think we sold this house too low to this guy, to this young black kid, and he's about to sell it to a Jew for more money. So they stopped answering us, right? They wouldn't do the deal with us. They was like trying to, for like 2 weeks. So I called my lawyer. My lawyer sent them a demand letter. They got their lawyer involved, and long story short, we settled. And they said, we'll pay you $10,000 so we don't got to sell the house to you. So we took it.
Okay.
We like, yo, give us 10 grand. You keep your house. My buyer wasn't happy about it, but versus us fighting another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, we just took the 10,000 and walked away.
So how does, I just know about Houston market. So how does it work over there? Like they have to sign a contract or a verbal agreement?
Sign a contract. So we had a signed contract. So in real estate, when you sign that contract, you are legally buying to uphold your duty in that agreement. So when that seller signs and I sign, just like I gotta close, they have to close too. So when she decided to not move forward with the deal and we brought our lawyer in, even their lawyer told them, like, you can't win this case. Only thing we can do is make an offer to them to step away from the property.
Okay.
We could have kept fighting it and then forced them to sell, but you got to think, my lawyer explained to me, look, it's going to take a long time. We're going to go in front of a judge and we're going to try to force a 80-year-old lady out her house. So you can take the $10,000 now and run, which I suggest. And my lawyer took like $2,500, $3,000 of that. But it was better than not making no money on that deal.
So you got a lawyer on retainer?
Yeah, not on retainer, but pretty much on call.
On call?
Yeah.
So that's mandatory. They charge like $2,000-$3,000?
In that case, yeah. See, my lawyer's expensive, man. He like $450, $500 an hour. So he's super expensive. So I don't have him on any type of retainer. It's just case by case. But on my real estate deals, I don't use a lawyer because New Jersey's a non-lawyer state. What about Texas? Do you need a lawyer to close real estate here?
Nah, they have like a in the title, they have a lawyer to go over everything.
Okay.
That's like you don't as an investor, you don't have to have a lawyer.
You don't need
to buy a house.
That's the same thing in New Jersey. So we don't use lawyers because we got experience. And now if it's a unique situation, so a lot of times homeowners use lawyers and then we go through that attorney review phase. But we're like, what I've learned is that like, if the deal don't get done, the attorney doesn't get paid, the seller doesn't close, we don't close. So I explain to every seller, definitely when they're emphasizing, I'm gonna have my lawyer look at this contract, I say, hey, look, I'm happy that you're doing it that way because I don't want it to be me versus you. And then if you don't see something in this contract you don't agree with, then I'm the bad guy. So have your lawyer look at it because I'm super easy. I know on my contract, I only need a couple things to stand still. My inspection period, right? My closing date, my price. And for the most part, everything else is up for negotiation. Your sellers don't be trying to, this happened to me a lot. They don't be trying to ask for like $5,000 more, a couple of thousand more before you close. On purchase price?
Yeah.
Nah. I've never had that situation.
Never?
Never. Nah.
I be in, it's like ridiculous in Houston. Like
I've had sellers come to me like this. Look, Isaac, I really like you. I'm not gonna lie, since I signed this contract, a couple more buyers called me and they gave me a higher offer.
I get that all the time.
And I just, I don't respond. I don't feed no energy into it because what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
You know,
So
but I've had that a couple times. I guess they're probably hinting at, can you give me a little more?
Yeah.
But they've never physically asked me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like wink, wink type.
Yeah, it's like a look, man, I really like you. Like, you know, one seller recently, he had a buyer in Arizona that he signed a contract with. Guy in Arizona, I sent them a letter. He called me like, look, man, I just wanted a contract with a company out of state, but because you're here in this town, I really want to work with you. So I showed him some game. I said, look, this is how you can get out the contract. I read his contract. I said, this is how you can get out the contract. And he got out the contract, gave us the house. He said, if you can give me $3,000 more, I give you the house. I made $35,000 off the house. Yeah, and at the day of closing, I gave him $1,500. I cash apped him just off the strength. You know, and I told him that when I went and see him, I said, look, because you're working with us, I'm going to give you $1,500. And at the day, he's like, yo, Isaac. And his wife was there too. So like she was on it. I was like, I give you cash out the $1,500, but I've never really had that issue, you know, like I guess these Houston people,
man, it's cutthroat out here.
It's cutthroat. Like, but most people out there, I guess I would just say they stand on their word because they understand that, like, when I go into agreement, like, people there, I would say, have more business etiquette.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, even if they're not business, like, you know, they have the etiquette of, I signed this agreement, I know what can happen, versus, like, I was sure Houston, it seems like it's a black population here. Are you dealing with a lot of black homeowners here?
Where I'm buying at, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in South Park, Sunnyside.
Yeah, so you know how our people is. We want to get as much as possible, and we're willing to take that risk. Quick side story, my other lawsuit happened in Milwaukee.
Over.
So it was a husband and wife. The wife, we never met the wife. The husband met, and I was doing virtual wholesaling. The husband signed for the wife at the property. So long story short, a couple days later, they don't want to do the deal no more. So we're like, yo, y'all just signed a contract. You called your wife on the phone. She said she was okay with price and you signed for her. We went back and forth. We went through a long lawsuit. That took some time, like maybe 12 months. That lawsuit went. Yeah, we never got the house, but we got like $7,000 from them. The lawyer ended up, they said, you might as well just pay them out because you signed and we have proof that you met our team. Like, we had phone conversations we had all the track record. And then we had proof that you signed because both signatures looked alike. You signed for your wife, you know, and we got $7,500 for that house there. And they didn't want to sell it to us because they had a higher offer.
I just got a phone call like right before. She heard me. The title company was like, how much you want? I was like, just give me $1,000.
Yeah, right.
I didn't feel like going through all that.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta, like, path the least resistance.
Yeah, you got so many deals. It's like, you don't got time to be negotiating and arguing and all that energy. It's just like, man, just give me $1,000.
Right, exactly. Yep.
How do you go about developing a network of buyers?
That's a good question. So developing a network of buyers, the best way to develop a strong network of buyers is being known for getting good deals.
Okay.
So prior to that, what I do is I do a couple things. So in real estate, there's a lot of different softwares you can leverage to go out there and generate, like, I call it data. So in your market right now, every transaction is public record. So there's softwares out here. There's a software called Prop Streams. There's a software called REI Smart Data, and you can leverage these these softwares and pull all the investing that's happening in your zip codes, and you can market to them investors and saying, like, hey, look, I see that you bought this property, right? And I have more properties like that. Give me a call. Give me a text. Let's connect. That's one way we do it, and we send out marketing every month looking for new buyers. Facebook groups is a free way to do it, so you can go into all your local Facebook groups, even national Facebook groups. Always teach people the law of giving and receiving. So always give in groups, like, you know, whether it's a motivational quote, whether it's a book that you like, whether it's a gem that you got from somebody else, pass it on, and then you'll receive what you want. The other thing I love to do is I network with real estate agents. So real estate agents is a super major hack. So you think about it. There's agents that's in your market that's been there for 15, 20, 30 years in the market, right? So if I could piggyback off of them and just say, hey, look, I come across a lot of off-market deals. Do you have investors looking for discounted properties? Because that's one of the agents' biggest problems. They can't find their investors off-market deals.
Right.
They're normally in the business of selling retail, whether they get a listing and an agent brings a buyer to their listing, or they bring a buyer to an agent's listing. But when you tell them, I have deals that you won't find on this MLS and I will connect you directly to them with your buyers, most of them are going to be entitled to do that. Majority of my deals that I do come from an agent bringing me a buyer. And most of the time, they don't even want a fee because they're buyer. Either they're going to list it for the buyer. Sometimes they may want a little fee, which we'll work that out. But most of the time, they say, hey, look, let my buyer buy the house and I'll get paid on the back end of the deal.
Okay.
Yep.
How important is it to build a rapport with your sellers?
I mean, it's everything. It's what makes or breaks the deals. You know, building rapport with sellers is really it's about being in total communication, you know? So I feel like sellers don't always go for the highest price, right? Price is not always their goal. Most of the time, their goal is doing business with somebody that they like or that they trust or that they feel comfortable with, right? So I'm always about, when I'm speaking with a seller, whether I'm on a phone or in person, my ultimate goal is to, as fast as humanly possible, get out of business conversation, right? So if I'm in your house, like, it can be many questions. How'd you get started in real estate? Is this your first property? Have you ever thought about investing, right? I try to get away from the house itself, and I try to figure out how can I take the conversation beyond while we're here today. Because like I said, you can't premeditate rapport. You just got to be knowing how to just be dialogue, you just got to be really, really good at dialoguing so that the seller gets comfortable with you as a person first. Because when you go to make that offer and it's low, you need to have that rapport built so at least they can be open-minded to saying, you know what, that seems low, but let me hear what you got to say, versus being non-rapport, building no rapport, and that offer just completely disqualifies you from the beginning.
Are you ever worried, giving that first offer is like real crucial? Are you ever worried about disrespecting the seller?
No. So, no. I try to warm them up as much as possible. So what I do is I do everything. When I qualify sellers, I do everything but try to make an offer. Okay. So I'm letting the seller know, listen, you got so many options when you're selling this property. You can keep this home, you can rent it out, you can put renovations into it and sell it and get more money, right? You can, you got so many other options. You can list it on the market, right? You can pass it down to your kids, always giving them options. And when they continue to tell me, no, those are not the options that I want, even when I get ready to present the offer, I explain to a homeowner like this. I say, look, I know every homeowner I cross paths with, I won't do a deal with, but I try to help every homeowner. I understand that the toughest part of this relationship today is going to be price. That's just, I've been through thousands of homes. I just know that, right? The biggest issue is probably going to be price today. But what I want you to understand is that my price is typically built up off of a few components, right? So I just build them all the way up to just anticipate this offer I'm going to make, right? So I got to anticipate, what is the house worth once I fix it up, right? How much work do I got to put into it? Then I got to make a little profit for the risk I'm taking. And that helps me arrive at a price, right? So the offer I'm giving you today, I am negotiable, but to an extent, I'm negotiable, right? And a lot of times when I do give my offers, I try to give them a little bit of a range instead of having one solid number. So if my sweet spot is 100, right, and I know I can sell it for maybe 120, I might give them an offer 80 to 110 or 80 to 120. I'll stretch it that wide so at least they can see that. And they might want 150. They might want 180 for the house. But I'm showing them that, look, I'm kind of stretching this out and there's some variables that kind of tie in this number, but I'm always negotiable. So I try to build them up to anticipate that the toughest part of our entire, you like me, we ain't here laughing, we communicating, but business is always, the number's going to be the toughest part.
After you get the house on a contract, do you ever have to negotiate the price again or?
Yes, I've had to do that multiple times. Actually, one of my latest flips, I put this house under contract at $280,000. It was a $550,000 house. I shopped it for $300K, no buyers. I had a lot of traction because the area was really good, and this is why it's important to have a strong buyers list. My highest offer started at $225. My highest offer, mind you, that was at $280. $225, I got somebody up to about $240. So I went back to the seller. Mind you, I had 3 appointments with this lady. She was traveling from upstate New York down to Jersey Shore. So she traveling 90 minutes every trip. So I'm not letting her know what's going on. I'm doing all my due diligence. I'm making everything seem good. I'm like, yeah, this is my last appointment. We're going to do 3 appointments. I'm going to see you twice. And in the third one, we're going to kind of button everything up. So long story short, on the 3rd appointment, I went in there and I said, look, this is what I say to every seller when I got to negotiate. I got good news and I got bad news. Okay. The good news is that we are still on time to close. Okay. But the bad news is that the price. Like we're not where we need to be at price. And when I told this lady, she looked at me. And the good thing is I built so much rapport with her. This is why the rapport is so important.
Mm-hmm.
She was so upset when she was like, Isaac, I'm so disappointed because you made this seem too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, Miss Laura, I did tell you that today we were going to talk about the final verdict of everything, right? Cool. So I sat in this house with this lady probably for like 60 minutes and we wasn't getting nowhere.
Was she like angry or?
She was upset.
She was disappointed?
She was really upset. She was upset, but she was trying to hold her composure. Her husband was there and my partner was with me. And every time the conversation was dying out to the point where we just like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I knew what my numbers was, 225. Mm. So I kept breaking it down. So I kept going through the numbers over and over and over. And through the process of continuing to talk about the numbers, I ended up finding out the discrepancy. So my partner had went to the house first and negotiated and contracted the deal. And I was dispoing the deal, finding a buyer. Mm. So when I explained the numbers, so I said, well, look, we thought we can get 550, but the market is changing since the beginning of the year. So we got to anticipate 500 to be safe.
Well, was that true or that was?
It was true.
It
was true, but I'm going to show you how I tied in the deal and got it done. But I think we're going to get more than 5 for it.
Okay.
But, then I said, we got to put about 125 to 150,000. So they objected me and said, well, your partner already told us all this. So what's the difference? So I'm stuck. I pull out my calculator and I underwrite the deal at the 550 because that's what I realized. I'm like, well, if all this make 550, boom, 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 I punch it in. And that's what I realized. I'm like, yo, we came into the deal, best case scenario, trying to get 550. So long story short, she came to 240 at the house like an hour later. I said, look, if I take 240 today, I'm going to be back in 3 days asking for the same discount. I don't want to insult you no more. I don't want to waste your time. I know I can get this done at 225. We left the house. I said, let me go talk with my lender. Let me adjust my term sheet and let me see if I could do 240. We agreed to talk that night. I got on the phone with her that night. I don't got good news. 225 is the number. At the end of the call, let me rewind. This is what I did at the house that got me the deal. I said, look, since we have this discrepancy that I think 550, then the husband butted in and he said, well, Isaac, you probably still could get 550. You never know. And that stuck with me, right? And in real estate, you got to have instincts. You got to have like Spider-Man. You got to have them instincts when people say stuff. So I said, okay. So I said, I'll work a deal with y'all. Anything over 500,000, we split 50-50. And she was like, now we're talking, Isaac.
Okay.
Now we're talking. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I had it in my mind. I said, if she says no to that, I would even be willing to do 100% over 500 I'll give to them. Because at 550, I would make my profit. So I gave her that agreement. She liked that agreement and we agreed to talk that night. And that night, we didn't get anywhere. I said to her, you know what, Laura? If I was in your shoes, I wouldn't take this deal, right? I said, I probably wouldn't take this deal neither because this is your house. This is your retirement, right? This is going to be your last bit of change for this property. You got other options. But Laura, I've been in your shoes because I'm a seller too. Sometimes when I want a certain price for a house, I'm stuck on that. But after a while, when I'm not getting that number, my mind would change. So I'm not sure where you are in this phase, but if I was you, I probably wouldn't take this deal. I woke up that next morning. I got an email from her husband at 3:30 a.m. accepting all my terms.
Oh, wow, for real?
Yeah. So it made me think like, yo, they must have been up all night thinking about this. Like, what are we going to do? But because I put that back in on the deal, like, look, I'm going to give you 225 today. But if I get 550, you get another 25,000. She was going to give it to me for 240, right? But now that I did the deal this way, it was safe on the front end, but on the back end, I got to split everything over 500,000, 50-50 with her. So it's just all about being creative on the spot. And I wasn't premeditated because I didn't even know that my negotiation was going to go that deep. But I had my mind made up that I wasn't leaving out that house until we got a deal done.
Man, congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, when you see yourself in 5 years, man, you give me like politician vibes, man. Like you're a real good speaker, dude. Like the way you enunciate your words, the way you speak. You can negotiate really well.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I think you get everybody to vote for you.
Yeah. Honestly, man, where I see myself in 5 years, man, I just turned 30 3 weeks ago. My goal is to continue to build my legacy, you know, for my children, for my family. That's my true goal. I am into the community activist work, you know, but I haven't put a lot of work towards it because my family is just, we in such a last place that it's like they say, yo, in order to help other people, you got to help yourself. In order to help the world, I should help my family first. So I told myself this year, like, I got everything set up in my life, right? I got my trust funds. I got my private foundation. I got my real estate career set up. I said I got 15 years left in real estate.
15 more years?
15 years, that's it.
Okay.
You know, 15 years with a 5-year buffer. Okay. So by 45 to 50, no more real estate, and I just want to transition all of my wealth passively, you know, through my real estate. 5 years from now, I see myself doing exactly what I'm doing, taking advantage of the market, dominating the market, transitioning to some apartment buildings as well. Okay. I made so much money in I made so much transactions, wholesaling, flipping, and I look up and I'm still hustling. Like I've sold probably hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate. I've made millions of dollars doing it, but I'm still hustling every day. So I have some passive income, but I do look back, like the first question you asked is, what if I would have just kept 10% of the houses that I've sold since 2014? That'd probably be 6 figures a month, you know? So I'm trying to play catch up in that sense, and I was building that passive income up. But being a politician, I mean, if God put it on my heart, possibly, but it ain't one of my main goals, you know?
How many doors you plan on having?
See me, and it's probably not, I don't set goals.
Oh, you don't set
I don't
goals?
got a goal for like amount of doors. You know, like, I'm just blessed that I got the strategy. Okay. You know, so as long as I know the strategy on what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to I don't got no set goal, but I have been more attentive in trying to hold on to more of my properties. I do have a business partner, so that's kind of sometimes a struggle, that it's not always what I want. So, you know, we go back and forth about properties we need to keep and properties we need to sell. So, I mean, I know my goal is like in 15 years, I want 7 figures a month in passive income. Okay. Yeah.
That's a great plan.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of work, but we can get there.
If you had a daughter, what would you tell her about men?
Good question. I got 2 daughters. I got 2 more coming.
Okay. You got 2 more. Oh, you got twins?
Twins right there. Wow. Yeah, and I got a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old.
So you got all
girls. So look, man. So the question is, what would I tell my daughter about men?
Yeah, like when they start dating and 18.
Oh man, you know, like, see, I would just explain to my daughters how I was as a man. You know, as men, like, we got our eye on the prize, you know, so we'll do whatever, we'll say whatever to get what we want, whether we mean it or we don't mean it. Okay. So I would just explain to my oldest daughter right now, she about to be 10, you know, and I just explained to her that, you know, you got to make sure that so I've never really thought about this too much, right? But it's like, it's a tough conversation, but I just want my daughter to be smart in her decision making, right? I don't want her indulging in sex at a young age, you know, but at the same time, how much can I control it? I don't really know, you know, but I just want them to be smart about the decisions that they make. Don't fall for the tricks of these young boys. Right. And I'll explain to her, like, me and her mother, I'm not with her mother, you know, so we had a child at 19 and, you know, you got to go to mom's and to dad's house because we wasn't sure that we wanted to be together, but we were doing things that created you. So I just want her to be smart about her decisions that she makes, you know, just understand that, like, don't get caught up in the moment. You know, like, you got your career ahead of you, you got your future ahead of you. And if marriage is something that you want, you don't want to water yourself down just chasing every opportunity that you see out there, you know? So I plan to do that by being the example, you know, just trying to set that example, you know, for my daughters.
Okay.
That's a good question.
You going to require, I know they're going to inherit a lot of real estate. You going to require them to get prenups?
Damn, that's a good question. So I was just talking about this. I didn't think about that one there, but so one of the things that I got set in my estate planning is that my daughters have to keep my last name if they get married. Now they can hyphenate.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they just don't get the legacy. And another thing is that my daughters won't even inherit my real estate when I pass.
It's gonna be like in a trust?
In a trust.
Okay.
So they can be trustees
it's
or
gonna be
beneficiaries
So it's gonna be like Rockefeller.
Rockefeller.
Yeah.
So I got the biggest thing, because again, one of my biggest lead sources is inherited and probate. So I see people die every day and these children just throw their houses away.
Exactly.
Sell it for nothing. So I'm not gonna let my kids, because my kids, they not even interested in real, and they young right now, but they may not be interested in real estate. So I'm not gonna let them ruin it for my great grandchildren. I always say my legacy is bigger than my kids. They're the first start of it, but it's bigger than them to me. I see past them. So I wouldn't allow them to blow everything I'm working for. So they would be beneficiaries. So keep the last name hyphenated, but in return, the estate will pay for half the wedding,
Okay.
So I'm putting, because I got all girls, literally all girls. So it's I don't want y'all to marry off and then we just lose my last name. And honestly, I don't even have my father's last name. I got my mother's last name. And we got such a small family. So I become so passionate about the Grace last name, So that was something that I'm working on putting in place right there.
Okay.
Oh, so you will require your daughters to have your last name?
Yes, when they get married.
Kind of crazy. Would you be okay, if your wife, wouldn't remove, her father's name?
I would be totally fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would be totally fine with that. I mean, so I don't want them to just keep my last name. I just want to, hyphenate it.
Oh, okay.
Like Jada Pinkett Smith.
Right, and I think during that time, that would also be something that I would be willing to have with her potential husband. Just the conversation of why is it important versus her having to explain to the husband and then now him having an ulterior motive towards me.
And is that just because you don't have any sons? You don't want to, like you said, lose your legacy?
I would say a little bit of that, yeah.
So what if you did have a son? Would that still be a requirement?
I think it'd still be, because I got 4 girls, So yeah, I think it'll just be something that I'm just going to put in place. Now, it's an option. They don't have to do it.
Oh, okay.
But you just don't benefit you don't inherit anything from me.
That's deep, because that's what,
Or maybe in the future, I may become a little more lenient and adjust it. But no, they're going to get a limit to... Because, when you get married and you take on that person's last name, that's what you're taking on. So now your children is becoming, so it's something that is new to me. But I mean, I would try my best to be as open-minded about it. But it's something that's strong for me right now.
Oh, so if I was your daughter, I was like, Dad, I don't feel comfortable having your last name. I want to take my husband's name. That's something you would consider. You wouldn't just cut her off.
Oh, no, I wouldn't cut her off.
Okay.
It would be love forever. I would do everything for her. But if my other daughters do it, I would put them in front of the line when I leave this earth. They would have more control than her.
Oh, okay. That's
yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And then if I have sons, they would have, I can't speak for I don't have no sons yet. But yeah, that's a stipulation. But in return, I'm paying for half. Well, the estate, our estate is paying for half the wedding. And also we're bringing your husband's family get benefit from their part of the family now.
Right.
So the life insurance policies, they want to start businesses, right? They have access. Instead of going to the bank, they can come to our board of trustees, right? They want to own real estate. They get access to our books, our trainings. Right. So I also am documenting training too to pass on to my generation versus just money and assets. So they don't it's not just a take the last name and get money. No, you buy into the family too.
Okay.
Family legacy.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
What if you didn't approve of their husbands?
I mean, so that's so tough. I would just try my best to be honest with them, and just try to have an honest conversation. I mean, it just all depends what I don't approve. If I just blatantly you cheating on my daughter, I'm going to tell her. Of course I'm going to tell her. I'm going to explain to her, but at the same time, it's their decision,
Right.
It's
Would there ever be a point like Christiana, her father was like, I hope you could swim. Would there ever be a point where you're gonna be like, if you leave my house and you go live with this guy, I hope you can swim, or you get married to this particular guy, I hope you can swim?
Nah, I wouldn't do that to my daughters because those are my daughters at the end of the day. And like I said, I understand how young males and young females are. Sometimes we lust super hard, and it may take some time for you to realize that my dad was right, or my mom was right. So no, I would never shut the door on them. I may take a step back and let them, drown and come save them. But no, I don't think I could never see myself just completely over because of a guy that they're choosing, like completely shutting them out. Nah, I wouldn't do that. Nah, never.
That's not you.
Yeah.
No more questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you be mad if they didn't want to be an entrepreneur? Like if they wanted like a 9 to 5?
I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't be mad, but I would definitely try to help them consider the importance of entrepreneurship. I know that everybody's not built for it, so I hope that if I'm able to give them that foundation, that head start to start more businesses, because I don't really want my children to just do real estate. I want real estate to kind of be the vehicle so that they can start other industries, because if we have real estate set, we just want to do other things, like other different industries that we can build up to just make the empire bigger. But I wouldn't judge them. If they got a good career that they're passionate about, I wouldn't judge them about that. I would just help them leverage their good earned income, at least to make investments, get life insurance policies, maybe buy a property or two, buy some investments, things of that nature. But I wouldn't judge them off that.
You talk about life insurance policies a lot. Have you leveraged your policy to like get money out of it?
Yeah, so me personally, no. I have 2 life insurance policies right now. I have a whole life policy and the index universal. I haven't leveraged them yet because I haven't built up the cash value in them enough.
Okay.
So I started my policies on I didn't do like a high amount of cash into it on the front end. I started with a basic policy. I pay $750 a month for both of them. So at year 5, I'll have some cash value built, about they're close to like 30,000 in it. I'm leveraging that for more long term. I'm leveraging them policies to eventually be banks for my future ventures or my next generation ventures. In real estate, I have a really good money lender that I use. Business funding, obviously, I have as well. So I haven't used any of my policies just yet to kind of like become my own bank and leverage it.
Okay. What was your biggest flip?
So my biggest flip I did was 120, I think about 120,000 flip. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it's funny because that deal I closed at June 2022. So I bought a house for a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. I converted to a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1-story home. Homeowner was motivated to move out of state. She was an empty nester. So empty nesters is another list that I target. So I target old people. Like Jersey has a lot of old people in New Jersey. It's an old state, old money.
Nester.
Empty nester is someone that is over 55. So you know how I'm assuming you're a millennial.
I don't know.
What year were you
95.
born? Yeah, you're a millennial. So you're a millennial. So empty nesters are like in their 60s right now. So empty nesters in real estate, that it's like 55 or older. They own the house for over 30 years and it's 3 or more bedrooms. So I target that type of list because those are most of the people that are tired homeowners, tired landlords. They are going to a nursing home. They are moving out of state with their children, or they're just moving out the state. In New Jersey, taxes are very high. So a lot of people are leaving New Jersey and going somewhere else. So we target them type of list. So this homeowner, she was going to Tennessee. We bought her house for $182,000. It was worth $380,000. We sold it for $400,000. It was worth $380,000 when we underwrote it. We put $90,000 in work into it. It took us like 5 months to do the project from start to finish. Sold it, made $120,000 on that deal there. So we did that last year. But yeah, all of our flips average about $100K net profit on them.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have like a lot of write-offs? Like with taxes and stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, my business, I invest a lot into my business. I probably spend anywhere from like 30 to 35, maybe 40,000 sometimes a month in marketing and just in my business subscriptions and different things like that. So last year, I know we made 918,000 total for our business.
Okay.
And that's a combination of wholesale, flips, my partner's license. So we do list homes too on the market. This year, God willingly, we're trying to hit 2.5 million. So I just finished 3 flips right now, and I'm not upset that I'm out here in Houston, but I got 3 projects that just went under contract. So my team I got a team of 6 of us total.
Okay.
You know, and they pretty much are running the show right now, but I got 3 amazing deals that just came across my board, all 100K profit on them. So I just want to make sure I'm there doing all my due diligence and making sure getting everything in line with the lenders. But flipping homes has helped us kind of increase our revenue, because what I've realized since 2018 is that like we're kind of doing 50 to 70 deals year over year, you know, but what I transitioned the last 2 years is that we're flipping maybe like 4 of them. Last year we did 6 or 7 of them. This year I'm trying to do 10 of them.
Okay.
You know, because my average wholesale fee is maybe like 20, 30,000. So if I can make 80 to 100 on a flip and I could 3 or 4 times the revenue on that one transaction, I don't got to do more deals. I just got to make more profit per deal.
Okay.
So that's what I've been focused on now. It's like not working harder, working smarter, you know?
Okay.
So, yep.
You got any more questions? I'm gonna have to ask you either or question and we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Wholesaling or flips?
Flips.
Flips or rental property?
Flips.
Flips. Okay. Stocks or NFTs?
Stocks.
Stocks or crypto?
Stocks.
Stocks. What you have in stocks?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No. NFTs, crypto, nothing.
Nothing?
Mm-mm.
That's something you plan on getting into in the future? No?
Mm-mm.
Just real estate?
I'm a real estate guy. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
For that. Money or equity?
Equity.
2 million followers or rental property?
Depends what the rental property look like. But I'll take the 2 million followers.
Oh, the 2 million
If
followers?
it's active followers that spend money, I'll take that.
Okay. I feel that.
Yep.
850 credit score or $1 million?
850 credit score.
850 credit score?
Yeah, I'll take the 850 credit score.
Okay. Tour or Airbnb?
Airbnb.
Business checking account or regular checking account?
Business checking account.
LLC or S Corp?
See, that's a good question. It depends what I'm doing. It depends.
Whatever you're doing now.
For real estate, LLC.
LLC?
Yep. If I'm doing my coaching program, S Corp.
S Corp?
Yeah.
Okay. Business credit card or regular credit card?
Business credit card.
Okay. I think that's it. Man, thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
You flying out here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother. Thank
Hey,
you.
let me know. We'll meet up, get something to eat.
Okay.
In a couple of days.
Yep, definitely.
Tomorrow, we'll get something to eat for sure.
Yep. Absolutely.